ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रस्थाय भगवते श्रीमद् नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रस्थाय भगवते श्रीमद् श्रीला भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नाम्ने नमस्ते सरस्वती गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशैर्धितारिणे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिके। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्घ्रिये। So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 10, Text 16 and 17. Right, Prabhu? No, sorry. I have to go get that one now. Krishna. No, okay. Share screen. I will share screen. And then we go here. Yeah. Okay. I had a share screen. Or share screen. This one. Okay. Share. Okay. Hare Krishna. Sorry. So I will read the chapter, verse number 60. भूत सर्गस्तृतीयस्तु तन्मात्रो द्रव्यशक्तिमान् चतुर्थय इन्द्रियैः सर्गो यस्तु ज्ञानक्रियात्मकः। भूत सर्गस्तृतीय तु तन्मात्रो द्रव्यशक्तिमान् चतुर्थ ऐन्द्रिय सर्गो yastu jnana kriyatmakah. So this translation by Stephen Grace La Prabhupada. Before that, we'll do Bhuta Sarga, creation of matter. Tritiya is the third, two, but Tat Matra, sense perception. Dravya, of the elements. Shaktiman, generator. Chaturtha, the fourth. Aindriya, in the matter of the senses. Sarga, creation. Ya, that which. Tu, but. Jnana, knowledge acquiring. Kriya, working. Atmaka, basically. So, translation by Stephen Gessler, Prabhupada ki jai. The sense perceptions are created in the third creation. And from these, the elements are generated. The fourth creation is the creation of knowledge and of working capacity. Now, we'll go to next verse at text 17. Vaigarigo deva sargaha panchamo yanmayam manaha pashtastu. Oh, sorry. Shashtastu tamasa sargo yastu abhuddhi krita prabho. That is Vaigarigo deva sargaha panchamo yanmayam manaha shashtastu tamasa sargo yastu abhuddhi krita prabho. That is the fifth creation is that of the controlling deities by the interaction of the mode of goodness, of which the mind is the sum total. The sixth creation is the ignorant darkness of the living entity, by which the master acts as a fool. Purport by Divine Grace Prabhupada ki jai. This is kind of a long. The demigods in the higher planets are called Devas because they are all devotees of Lord Vishnu. Vishnu Bhakta Smrito Daiva Asurastad Viparyaya. All the devotees of Lord Vishnu are Devas or demigods, whereas all others are Asuras. That is the division of the Devas and Asuras. Devas are situated in the mode of goodness of material nature, whereas the Asuras are situated in the modes of passion and ignorance. The demigods or controlling deities are entrusted with the departmental management of all the different functions of the material world. For example, one of our sense organs, the eye, is controlled by light. Light is distributed by the sun rays, and their controlling deity is the sun. Similarly, mind is controlled by the moon. All other senses, both the working and for knowledge, acquiring knowledge, are controlled by the different demigods. The demigods are assistants of the Lord in the management of material affairs. After the creation of the demigods, all entities are covered by the darkness of ignorance. Each and every living being in the material world is conditioned by his mentality of lording it over the resources of material nature. Although a living entity is the master of the material world, he is conditioned by ignorance, by the false impression of being the proprietor of material things. The energy of the Lord called avidya is the bewildering factor of the conditioned souls. The material nature is called avidya or ignorance. But to the devotees of the Lord engaged in pure devotional service, this energy becomes vidya or pure knowledge. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. The energy of the Lord transforms from Mahamaya to Yogamaya and appears to pure devotees in her real feature. The material nature therefore appears to function in three phases: as the creative principle of the material world, as ignorance, and as knowledge. That is, the material nature therefore appears to function in three phases: as the creative principle of the material world, as ignorance, and as knowledge. As disclosed in the previous verse, in the fourth creation of the power of knowledge is also created. The power of knowledge is also created. The conditioned souls are not originally fools, but by the influence of the avidya function of material nature, they are made fools, and thus they are unable to utilize knowledge in the proper channel. By the influence of darkness, the conditioned soul forgets his relationship with the Supreme Lord and is overwhelmed by attachment, hatred, pride, ignorance, and false identification. The 5 kinds of illusion that cause material bondage. Hare Krishna. So there is a lot here in the 17th verse, and let's go to from 16th. So here we are in the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya continuing. And so sage Maitreya is describing creation to Vidura. So all the Mahapuranas have 10 topics generally. 10 topics will be covered. So in Bhagavata Purana also, these 10 topics are listed in the second canto, chapter 10. 10 subject matters. Of this, Sarga and Visarga are 2 of those topics which are being detailed here, how this happens. So, Sarga is what Lord Vishnu does. And Visarga is what Lord Brahma, the chief engineer of the universe, does. So we have Saragrahi Mataji explained how we have 9 types of creation and 3 types of annihilation in her class. And yesterday, our Lakshmikant Prabhu was discussing of the 9 creations. The first one is the creation of the Mahatattva, or the sum total of the material ingredients, wherein the modes interact due to the presence of the Supreme Lord. In the second, the false ego is generated, in which the material ingredients, material knowledge, and material activities arise. So, this verse is saying at the beginning of creation, we have the pradhan and the sum total of all the material ingredients. And the Lord, by simply casting his glance over this pradhan and entering into it in the association of his time energy, which is represented by Kali, or some other places it is described as he stirs in the time factor, and then all the ingredients come out of it. So initially the pradhan is simply a conglomerate, and when he through this glance, the Lord, all the living entities present in the body of Mahavishnu are carried by his glance along with the time energy. So then everything separates, starts to separate. So in this 16th verse is saying the sense perceptions are created in the third creation, and from these the elements are generated. The fourth creation is the creation of knowledge and of working capacity. So when the first factor that separates out is the false ego, and the false ego interacts with the mode of goodness, and the mind is created, mind appears, and the false ego interacts with passion, and then the intelligence of the living entity appears, and then it interacts with the false ego, interacts with the mode of ignorance. We have the 5 great elements, the Panchabhutas. So that is what is described here in the third creation. The Panchabhutas are created. Then from my notes, um, so so from then the jnanendriyas and the 5 senses are created, and the 5 jnanendriyas and the 5 karmendriyas also. That is the fourth creation is the creation of knowledge and of working capacity. So and then we go to the fifth creation. Fifth creation is that of the controlling deities by the interaction of the mode of goodness, of which the mind is the sum total. The sixth creation is the ignorant darkness of the living entity, by which the master acts as a fool. So we know that the demigods are also part of the creation. And the demigods are devas, that is, those who are surrendered to Lord Vishnu. And the asuras are those who are opposite. They do not accept the supremacy of the Lord. So the demigods or controlling deities are entrusted with the departmental management of all the different functions of the material world. That is, with respect to a living entity, each of our sense has a controlling demigod. That is, as described in the purport, our eye is the one of the senses, and it works only if we have light from the sun. Not only the light from the sun god is the controlling deity of our vision, of our sense. So if somebody is born blind or something, the demigod Surya has to be pleased to have a problem rectified. So like that. So for every sense organ, this we have seen in the Virat Rupa description, how each when the Supreme Lord desires to see, the eye appears, and then also the controlling deity called the sun. Similarly, all other senses, when he desires to taste, the tongue appears, and then Varuna, the demigod, also is simultaneously created, like that. So all other senses, both the working and for knowledge acquiring, are controlled by the different demigods. The demigods are assistants of the Lord in the management of material affairs. So we have so far the first the false ego, mind and intelligence are created, and 5 senses and 5 working senses, and 5 knowledge acquiring senses and 5 working senses are already created by this within this fifth creation. After the creation of the demigods, all entities are covered by the darkness of ignorance. So that is the sixth creation, is the ignorant darkness of the living entity. That is okay. And we'll see if in the next paragraph how the darkness comes over the living entity. Each and every living being in the material world is conditioned by his mentality of loading it over the resources of the material nature. Although a living entity is the master of the material world, he is conditioned by ignorance, by the false impressions of being the proprietor of material things. So the living entity thinks himself the proprietor, the maintainer, and the enjoyer. But he's none of these. Actually, the Supreme Lord is the proprietor. He is the maintainer, and he is the enjoyer. So once we realize all these things, we are in knowledge. The one who does not and it goes on foolishly striving to gain control over material nature. He is in ignorance. So this is that means he is in avidya. That is, he was bewildered and conditioned. This is a conditioned soul's plight. The material nature is called avidya or ignorance, but to the devotees of the Lord engaged in pure devotional service, this energy becomes vidya or pure knowledge. So, this is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. The energy of the Lord transforms from Mahamaya to Yogamaya and appears to pure devotees in her real feature. We have examples of all this in the Bhagavatam. How the devotee is in a deep ignorance, but then some experiences bring him to light. So, for example, we know King Chitraketu. King Chitraketu was very, very elevated soul and very compassionate towards his subjects, everything. But he was tormented by his, by the fact that he did not have a son. And the sages came and inquired from him, what is the cause for your your unhappiness? And then he reveals to them that his personal sorrow, that he does not have a son. And the sages try to tell him that one has to be satisfied with whatever is the Lord's will. And but they saw that he could not come out of his ignorance in that stage. So they blessed him to have a son who was named Harsha Shokan. So King Chitraketu did not even hear the last part of it, worry about the last part of his name. He is both the cause of Harsha, happiness, and deep sorrow. And when he had many millions of wives. He tried to have a child in each one of them, but it did not work. But then Kritatvidhi, one of his wives, by the blessings of the saints, became pregnant and got this baby, Harsha Chokan, and then he was in very much jubilation. And then, because he was so attached to this wife, Kritatvidhi, and the child, all the other queens became so jealous that they poisoned the child, and the child died. So this strikes such a blow to King Chitraketu that he wakes up. That is, in this material world, we cannot demand that it has to be like this, or then only I will be happy. We have to surrender to the Supreme Lord's will, and then he becomes. Then the sages come and advise him and give him the mantra by which he is able to have darshan of Lord Balram. So from there he goes on and on. I mean, he becomes the king of the Vidyadhara planets, everything. I mean, so sometimes people steeped in deep ignorance need to wake up from their avidya when they are, when material energy gives them a very big blow, as in the case of, like Gopal Hari Prabhu was saying, every psychological situation, and response to every psychological situation is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have so many devotee stories, how they are led from their ignorance, what their attachments, and so kind of they are waking up from deep sleep. So this is Maya, the power of material energy, which make us think, I, me, mine. My life has to be like this, and so we are struggling, wasting our time. As Prahlad Maharaj says, we are looking for happiness in this material desert, by chewing the chewed. That is, everybody is following the same pattern. By getting the job, by marrying, by improving my business, like that, by having a better car, better home, like that. So this is avidya, that or the conditioned nature of the living entity. And so, whereas for the devotees of the Lord, they act in knowledge, because they have Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra guiding them. So they become enlightened, and then they are progressively marching towards eternal happiness. Nothing in the conditioned life can deter them from from progressing towards Krishna consciousness. That is to realize their constitutional position as the servant of the Lord. That is Jivera Swarupa hai Krishnara Nityadasa. That is Lord Chaitanya's teaching. And then when we see Lord Chaitanya performs his pastimes, he can directly see Krishna in the garden, or or in Giri Govardhan. He is racing after Krishna to catch him, like that. So some devotees also get darshan of the Lord, like Srila Prabhupada was seeing the Radha Madhava when he was singing Jaya Radha Madhava. So like that, the more we are able to open our eyes, in spiritual, to see Krishna everywhere, our ignorance is removed. So then, for example, Hiranyakashipu's story. Hiranyakashipu had everything, control over everything, but he was driven mad, because he was not, he was, in an inimical mood towards the Supreme Lord. And then he mistreated his devotee son so much that Lord Nrsimhadeva appeared and killed him. So this is the demoniac mentality. Hiranyakashipu represents the demoniac, the most asuric mentality. That is, to be inimical to a devotee of the Lord, and to destroy the Brahminical culture and cows and everything. How he had, went about accomplishing his, to win power over every planet. He went up to Lord Indra and ousted him from there. So, but this is all temporary. The Lord reigns supreme, and the devotee reigns supreme. So, one more thing. Avidya and Vidya. Yeah. So, so Lord says, Naham Prakashanti. Let me read 7:25. Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavratah Mudhoyam na Apijanati Loho Mamajam Abhyayam. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and inexhaustible. So Krishna is covered by his Yoga Maya, and we are covered by the Mahamaya. So we have to penetrate these two layers to reach to him. So Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. And then, so we also talked about how time works. Yeah, the time, eternal time, it is going in a cyclical fashion. So what is created now is going to be annihilated, maintained for some time and annihilated at such and such a time period. So we are in this, and this goes on eternally. So, and we are finding ourselves in this Lord Chaitanya's verse, Patitamam Vishame Bhavambudham Kripaya Tava Pada Pankajastiti Truly Sadrashyam Vichindya. So I am fallen in this ocean of birth and death. Krishna, please kindly pick me up and place me as an atom at your lotus feet. So, Krishna's in Krishna's birth time, we can see how Yoga Maya acts, and then she transforms herself into Mahamaya, because Krishna calls Yoga Maya and says, now you move this seventh child of Devaki into the womb of Rohini, and then I will take birth in Devaki's womb. You appear, Yoga Maya, you appear as Yashoda's daughter, and then you will be carried to Devaki's, Vasudeva and Devaki's house. But you don't know, Kamsa cannot do anything to you, and then you will be present in all the Devi temples as Mahamaya. You will be known as Bhadrakali, Sharada, Bhavani, by all those names, because people want something, they desire something. You will satisfy their desires. So Yoga Maya transforms herself into Mahamaya and appears in all this, I mean, all the earth planet, she practically is everywhere and managing the affairs of the living entities. So sometimes people keep this baby shoes too. The parents think of their child when they see the baby shoes. Think of everything as Krishna's. That is what the devotee does. So that everything reminds us that this is Krishna's, and I have no control over it. So in the Grihastha life, we have to first of all keep Krishna as the center, as Lord Srila Prabhupada taught, and then everybody can bond nicely with each other. Otherwise, if it is with the material relationships are all going to be troublesome, as we can see so many types of quarrels in this world, starting from the very family unit. There will be husband and wife divorce, the child will be nowhere, and then at the society level, you are belonging to this denomination and I belong here, so we should be fighting, and countries like that. So I think I overdid the time very much. So Krishna is saying that everybody is born into O Scion of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arising from desire and hate. So here just one more thing. So we know from the story of Putana how she was Ratnamala in her past life, and she was a sister or a sister of Mahabali. And when she saw Vahamnadeva, she was all, enchanted by his beauty, and he wanted to sort of, I had maternal affection towards towards that young Brahmana boy. Then when he became Vamanadeva in full, in his expansion and conquered everything that Bali Maharaj had, she wanted to kill him because he has defeated her brother. And now in Krishna's appearance time, she is coming as Putana. She has that same desire, maternal desire, but so poisoned to kill the Lord. So that is how our rebirth happens, depending upon our material desires and our hates. So we better have no material desires, no hatred whatsoever. And that is why, our Ambarish Maharaj is teaching. Vajamsi Vaikunta Gunani Varnana. Like that, we have to engage all our senses, our mind, intelligence in service to Krishna. And then we'll be free from this cycle of birth and death. I will end here. Please excuse me having extended my talk beyond deadline. And thank you for being very patient. And sorry if I made many mistakes. Vancha kalpatarubhya kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Lakshmikant Prabhu, is there any time for a question or comments?
Yes, Mataji, maybe.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept mine to all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Mataji, you are our community's walking and talking Bhagavatam, Mataji. It is so sweet.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So nice.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I'm so at the bottom of the list of speakers, I think myself. I'm broken language. I say something like that. Out of context, in context, everything. So, Lord.
So you were quoting all of these things, how Chitraketu Maharaj and all those things, they wanted to have a child. I was just thinking, there are a couple of such things that we, see in the news. One of the things we see is these young couples, illicit or otherwise, they get the children and they do horrible things to them. So, like you said, Putana was poisoned so much that her maternal love became, a demon. Okay.
Yes.
In these cases, I don't know what do we say, and the other way around is a recent, 20, 30 years ago in India, there used to be a famous brand, Raymond, and the owner, what he did was he was so happy with his son when he came of age. He transferred all the properties to his name, thinking he'll take care of him out of love. And there was no indication anywhere that his son did not love him. But once he got the full control of the company, the properties and other things, he threw his parents out of the home. Can you imagine? Thousands of crores of property has been given. He can't take care of the parents. And due to some clerical mistake, the father and mother is left with one small home and a little, money so that they can live their old age.
Wow.
So, this is not just Kali Yuga, this is also material world, Mataji. So just wanted to bring up these two.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. That is how he becomes a demon, or the own son becomes a demon. Imagine. So unless taught at a very young age, this about Vidya, knowledge, Prabhu, I mean, what is the scope? All are in ignorance. All are in ignorance. I was so happy to see our 8-year-olds chanting Brahma Samhita, sitting so nicely, and I mean, I felt so wonderful seeing that one. In Naperville, we have hope. Yes, Prabhu, it is so. I mean, if we read news, we become, why did we go there? First of all, I think I have this news obsession. I must follow what's going on. And then I think, why I go there, read and corrupt my mind. It's so bad. So bad.
Yeah, Mata. Thank you so much, Mata.
Hare Krishna, so much. Thank you for adding. So, Lakshmikant Prabhu, so we can end here maybe.
Okay, Mata.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Everybody have a nice Krishna conscious day.